So welcome to our debate portion of our meeting tonight. And I'm Pamela Spencer, I'm the city recorder and the election official. And this is something. We also want to give a big thank you and round of applause to our youth council who has graciously helped us tonight. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance by Youth Council Member Alexa Jackson, and an invitation will be given by our Youth Council Advisor Jessica Welch. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we're so grateful for this opportunity to gather as a community and discuss our priorities and values together peacefully and respectfully. And pray to help bless us to continue to come together and support each other and build a community that we all benefit from. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. So just some little bit of information about elections. The official election day is Tuesday, November 2nd. However, we do vote by mail, so the ballots will be mailed out the week of October 12th. So watch for your ballots come in the mail. What's nice about doing vote by mail is you have the opportunity, while you're sitting at home, before or while you're filling out your ballot, to get online, either on our website or on the state website, under your voter information on vote.utah.gov, or you go to vineyardutah.org and check out all of our election pages. 2021 does host the candidates and their bios, and we'll get one on there. I somehow missed a bio. I apologize for that one, but it will be on there, right? But while you're filling out your ballot, you can actually look. These things are great to do vote by mail in some of that aspect. I don't know how many of you stepped up to a ballot booth, to a voting booth, and not known who some of those people were because you didn't have the opportunity or didn't take the opportunity to look them up. I don't know how we can read. Is it 4 years we vote the judges? Did you know there's a site that you can look up to? So now you know, vote by mail. Bravo. You're also doing ranked choice voting, and I'm going to read this so I don't skip anything. We're running our election this year with ranked choice, which we also did 2 years ago, and it was very successful. It's you pick your oh, it just drew a blank. It's gone. Okay, I know how it works. You rank your candidates in your favorite, the ones you want to see win. You can rank them 1 through 3, I think 4 on the council and 3 for mayor. And you can rank them in order. But a little tidbit is that you don't have to vote for somebody if you really don't want to. But rank them, because what we want out of this tonight is you to have your favorite and your next favorite, and your next favorite, and you go in that order when you get your ballot. So what that gives you is somebody that wins by more than 50% of the vote, meaning that more than half of the voters wanted you in the position you're in, rather than what we call a traditional election where you have maybe 33% voted you in, and on 70, was that 77? I can't count.
You got it.
67. It's a long story, we'll anyway, 67% that didn't vote for you, so you know that you've got a lot more people in your favor through a ranked choice election. So that's a little tidbit. You do have your pamphlet that gives a little more detail on how that works and on how they count your votes. It's really cool. If you want to go back on the county website for the 2019 election, they do have our results, and you can look. There's 3 or 4 different ways that you can see how those results work. So it's a great process, and we're testing it out. So, should have more to say, right? So we are going to start out, as you can see, with our city council candidates. We have Nef Pacheco, Mardi Sifuentes, Amber Rasmussen, who's going to be here tonight, and Kristal Price as our city council candidates. And, oh yeah, where's our timers? They've got everything. We've got, our youth council will be tiny. You have 2 minutes to respond to the questions. And they will hold up signs, so you know you have a minute, up to 2 minutes, I should say. You don't have to take it all, but we have plenty of time. So, like I said, it'll be a little long-winded. But anyway, so they'll be timing you, they'll hold those up and let you know when the time is up. And we want you to, we only have the one microphone that you'll be sharing, so please make sure you pass it on. We will start, we're going in ballot order. So, that was the first, they do a randomized selection at the Lieutenant Governor's office for the ballot order every 2 years. So it's on county election years when we do it, and then the municipalities share that for the next election cycle. So that's how that works. And so that will be first, and then Mardi and Kristal. So, and then that will be the first question, and then the second question will go to Mardi. And we'll go around and everybody will get to answer all those questions in that order. So Kelly, come on up. Here we go.
Okay, our first question for our city council candidates. Please tell us about yourself and your past experiences that have prepared you to be a city council member. We'll start with Nef.
You guys hear me? Okay, can you hear me better? More with it? Oh, there it goes. Sorry, I'm not a rapper, so I don't know how to put a mic so close to my face. Well, first of all, just thank everyone that is here. I know you guys are all busy and want to spend time with your family, so I appreciate everyone here. Yeah, a little bit about me. So I grew up in the Northwest. I moved to Utah in 2012. I moved to Vineyard 2 years ago. Fell in love with the location and what it has to offer. And I guess for me, I'm actually not a politician. I don't own a business. But what I do have is the grit and the grind and the determination to support the people in this community. And for me, it's about delivering and my promise to you as a community. And simply that is, my background is I work on a day-to-day basis with small business owners. And I think smart development would be huge in the city. And also I think safety for the kids, our kids in the community. So for me, those are the main things I'm looking at, and I want to continue to move forward when it comes to the city of Vineyard. So that's a little bit about me.
Is this better? Okay. So sorry. Great day to lose your voice, right? My name is Mardi Sifuentes. I am mostly Utah native. I was born here. And I was really excited when we moved to Vineyard. I currently run and own Vineyard Bakery. And I did, if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I were ever going to be a baker, I'd laugh in your face, because I could burn everything in the oven. But it became a hobby, and when my husband lost his job, I felt like I needed to do something. I currently was working. I run a telecommunications company. I'm constantly reading drawings, seeing what companies are going into different cities, what businesses, what their plans are. And so I've always kind of had my ear to the ground on that. But when that financial trial came to our family, I made the goal to see how I could help. And I was shocked and awed at how supportive our community was. How much when people bought loaves that I thought, there's no way you could eat that many, but they just kept on supporting me. So I really wanted to give back. And I know that I'm an incredibly organized, hardworking person. And when I go to the city council meetings, sometimes I'm just happy as a clam. I love everything that's said. And sometimes I think, oh no, why are we talking about this? And so I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity to go and do something about contribute your thoughts. I would love to hear from all of you, and I hope I win. Hi, I'm Kristal. I don't know if that's a loaded question, but so a little bit about me. I am a first-generation Mexican American. I was born and raised mostly in El Paso, Texas. And down the road, my family had the opportunity to spend some years abroad in Mexico, actually. So that taught me a lot about being the minority and really different from the people around me. And it also taught me that despite how different I was from everybody around me, and my ideas were different, my values were different, my religion was different, there is always something that brings all these differences together if you hold similar values. I also am a elementary ed, I guess I'm not a teacher, but that's my degree. I have taught elementary ed, so I'm very used to classroom management and working with people that don't want to work with you. And I love our country very much, and I love our city, and like I said, I know that there are a lot of different opinions on how things should be run, but I also would like to create a feeling in our community of wanting to be involved, and that requires all of you, and I would love to work with you. Thank you. The next question, Marty, will be the first one.
I know, we like to be confusing. It's working. Okay, so, Martin, you get to answer this question, and the other two get a rebuttal, or they can just answer the question if they want. My glasses. What do you perceive as the biggest issues facing Vineyard, and how would you address them? 2 minutes, go.
Okay. The biggest issues I see facing Vineyard would be economic development. We have a lot of land that we are working on developing, and I want to make sure that we bring in the right businesses. I want to do what I can to seek out companies that will benefit our community, companies that are mom and pops that have been proven, that will come in and have success, along with bigger companies that will benefit our tax revenue and the people in our city. I also think that safety is an issue with as much development and building and all the homes we have coming in. We need to make sure we have walkable space. We need to make sure that we're staffed well with our police department and our fire department. I specifically love our sheriff's department. I think they're a wonderful resource. And probably, I really do care about the parks and recreation. I want to make sure that our quality of life is wonderful. I want to make sure that we have areas to gather, places where we can enjoy getting active, and I just want to make sure it's somewhere where our family wants to stay. Something that in 50 years down the road, we're going to actually be happy with what our council has done today. One of the biggest issues I think we face as a community, and I know this is a very hot and controversial topic, is the issue of high-density housing. I believe that there is a place for high-density housing in every city. It creates diversity and brings in people from all sorts of socioeconomic backgrounds, and we need them. We love diversity. That's one of the things that attracted us to Vineyard, is how diverse and how similar at the same time it feels. With this said, parking has always, for 3 years that I've been here, has always been an issue, and I can see that becoming a greater issue with the more people that come to our city. However, I think that some of those issues arise not necessarily because of the city's lack of planning and management, but because the proper responsibility isn't directed where it should be. So, for example, we should be empowering our residents to know that sometimes it's the HOA that you need to be speaking to, or it's your landlord who let you rent an apartment that has 2 parking spaces but okayed you having 7 residents. things like that. So if I am voted in, that's what I would like to focus on. I would like to educate myself on all of the avenues that we have to combat this, and then I would like to also create maybe focus groups with citizens who see this as an issue as well and work together to know what our options are to mitigate this problem.
Yeah, so I think I can agree with both Kristal and Marty, some of the topics they have mentioned. First of all, I continue to believe that development smart growth is what we have to continue to look at. We have a lot of open real estate within the city, and so I think, like I mentioned before, I work on a day-to-day basis with small businesses. Having the opportunity to work with them across the hall continually and consistently goes a long way. So finding, well, at least for me, as a resident of Vineyard, it still bugs me that we have a Chevron off of 800 that won't lead us to. We should have one on our site. And I think that is something that we should really take a look at when it comes to development. Safety is another big thing too. I think our city actually has a lot of young families, and I still think there's areas in the city that we continue to improve on when it comes to crosswalk signs, speed limits, and stuff like that. So at least for me, those are some of the biggest things that I would look at. And I understand that there is a lot of issue when it comes to high density, low density. Me personally, I believe a few years ago there was a call for building more parks, and by us approving that, there was a property tax that was going to get spiked a little bit. Well, if we have more homes, what happens is sustainability for these businesses come into play. They don't want to come to us. At the same time, we have to look at all that when it comes to development. And so I think looking at smart development, economic development, and small businesses, that's what I think. So that is what I would look at for Vineyard.
All right, thank you, candidates. So this next one will have Kristal Price answer first. And that is, here's the question. Based on your knowledge of the city's budget, what are your plans for the long-term fiscal health of Vineyard?
So the city needs a higher tax base, and I believe that this plan that we have of the promenade in the city center will help with that. Of course, more homes being built will also create a stronger tax base. With that, I think Nef and Marty have already touched on this, so I think the biggest thing that I would add to what they've already said is to work with local companies. I really would like to see business owners, small business owners start or bring their businesses to Vineyard as opposed to, don't you hate the cheesecake, or you love the Cheesecake Factory, don't hate me. As much as I would love to be able to go to Cheesecake Factory, I would rather support small businesses, local businesses that have a record of being successful and
Yeah, so for me, I think the city has a lot of opportunity, and when it comes to specifically the town center, I feel like 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years from now, that's going to be a big attraction to the city, and I do believe we will become a place where people want to come to visit us. And so with that being said, I strongly believe that it's going to be tourism that will attract us. We're just off the freeway, getting a train station. So that, I think, in itself, what we have in place is supporting our local officials in the sense of our city engineer. I know he's here, shout out to him. But helping these folks so we can continue to push the envelope to bring in small businesses is what I would look at and address when it comes to the budget fiscal year. Finding ways to address that is what I would look at. So that's what I would say.
I could just say amen and sit down, but I will add that I think we also need to focus on financial grants. There is a lot of money out there, and Vineyard qualifies for a lot of these grants, and we've had a lot of success already bringing in millions of dollars to develop different roadways and improvements on different areas. I think that the more more creative we get, the more aware we are of these different grants, the more that it'll benefit our city. If we just continue to research and see what will qualify our city for, I think because we're a modern city, doesn't that qualify us for something? It does, doesn't it?
Julie's gonna be great at this one.
But there's so many things that we can do, get support from outside of Vineyard. And yes, we do need to bring in businesses. The tax revenue will be fantastic. Drawing people into the downtown area of Vineyard will be a huge resource for that. And then also, of course, house rooftops will also bring that in. I do want to say that I am a supporter of high-density housing in the north end of Vineyard, and I would love to see the south end stay low density. And I think that by having balance and having right infrastructure, water, roadways, transportation is huge. So I think that if we are smart and creative, we can have a really successful budget.
We've all had questions for us, okay. Yeah. Next. So now what we're going to do is we asked our voters, our residents, to submit some questions that we could ask to our candidates here. And so we're going to ask a few of those. We've gone through them. And so, Matt, you guys, the first question is, what are you going to do to support development for the wetlands area or no development?
Yeah, that's a good question. What I would look into is, I'm hammering this. I'm looking at development. So smart development, pushing that out. So with that being said, if there's buildings that want to come in, I would take a look at that and see where we can find that to be an attraction. I know that some people want to keep those or maybe create some parks out of that or something like that. But I'm just more in favor of buildings, infrastructure. That's what I would consider to take a look at when it comes to that, to wetlands.
Okay, so I think when you say wetlands, I think the question is specifically possibly the uplands that are kind of surrounding the neighborhoods. And one thing that I had to learn a couple years ago, I went to a meeting where Tice Lake has awesome information. But there is what used to be the wetlands, and now it's dried up, and so it's kind of this open space that we can decide what we want to do with it. And I think that there's a lot of different options. I love getting feedback from different communities that are surrounding those areas. I think that the people that have their backyards facing that land will have a lot of thought and opinions on what they want to see there. Some of the ideas I've heard are fantastic things like parks. We do have to be aware of water, so parks don't always have to be just green grass. It can be places where kids can explore. There can be, I'm worried people are going to be mad when we say a pump track or a skate park, or I've heard, there's one I want to say, but I've heard it's not always great. A volleyball, sand pit, I've heard that sometimes those don't hold up. So I think that if we're just creative and looking at, just the different things that we want to see as a community, I think that that will really benefit the upland areas.
Like I said, I love that Vineyard has so much nature and open space, and I would be very sad to see a lot of our wetlands taken away to be developed into buildings. There is in the city plan, there is an option for a historic trail to be placed along the wetlands that are right behind Vineyard Park, and I think personally that's what I will be leaning towards. I would love to keep that beautiful trail and walkway and read signs along the way that will teach people about Vineyard's history. I think that knowledge like that brings the community together and it makes them care about their community. And that, I just think that we should preserve our open green space.
Okay, our next question from one of our attendees tonight, one of our residents, is how do you relate to business owners? And how do you know what they want or need?
an easy one for me. I have a small bakery, so it's not even on the big scale, right? There's certain things that appeal to me and that benefit my business. But I also have relationships with people that own large companies, and it's been quite a resource for me to have these conversations with my friends that, Fortune 500, not Fortune 500. My friend that owns Vineyard, I'll just say it. It's really wonderful when I chat with him and he says what his business would look at. I asked him, I said, when are you coming to Vineyard? Are you looking at building the meters in Vineyard? I think that would be great. And he said, you know what? These are the things that I'm concerned about. He says, I want my business to have access from open roadways. He likes to see cars passing by his business. And he looks at that before anything else. And so, yes, we can have rooftops. Yes, we can have areas, but we need to make sure that those are attractive to companies like his. And so I think that the more we get to know different businesses, different developers, we can get access to that information.
Can you repeat the question one more time for me, please?
It says, how do you relate to business owners and know what they want from you?
I am a small business owner as well. This is interesting new territory. It's a kind of an interesting question for me, but because I've always thought that as a business owner, self-employed, you just have to build it by yourself from the ground up. But recently, I have discovered that that's not necessarily the case, and it brings me back to my initial point that, as a community, going back to what Marty was saying, this is how her business flourished with the support of her community. So I think if you have local leadership that wants to foster small businesses that are local, it'll be great. It goes both ways, though. You have to be an active, engaged resident where you live, come to city council meetings, and what else you train about? So be engaged and don't be afraid to reach out to your local leaders, and if you know the right people, I'm sure they'll be happy to help you.
So for me, the way I would address this issue is, at least in my day-to-day job, I would say, number one, small business owners, you want to have a relationship with them. You want to have a way where they win and you win. So I think that's number one, really important. Number two, you look at cities like Vineyard, they were able to bring in big companies in because of tax incentives. So we should find a way to look at those things to attract these companies to come in to see us. Whether it's a grocery store, whether it's a fast food chain, whatever the case may be. So finding ways where we can give them opportunities when it comes to tax incentives. Number three, what I would look at is, if I was a small business owner and I had this conversation daily, is they would say, who's going to be my clientele? Where are these folks at? So in my opinion, having the development and housing continue to look at that, I think is really big. Because I can't stress this enough. So smart growth and development. So those are the things I would look at if I was at the table with LPC. I would find ways where I would help them understand the relationship where it's a win-win for everybody, and incentive, making sure we're educated on how we can tax incentivize the business. That's what I would do.
Thank you. Hey, Kristal, you'll start this one, right? Am I in the right order? I don't even know the order. There we go. Sorry. Can you explain in some detail and specifically the plans for the business area near the connector road? You've been doing your homework? This is our homework.
Oh man, going first is never good. Okay, businesses, repeat the question for me, I'm sorry.
Wait a second. They threw a good one at you, guys. Can you explain in some detail and specifically the plans for the business area near the connector road?
Okay, so it's the big space behind or to the sides of the movie theater, correct? We have big businesses like Topgolf coming, and I know that the city again wants to create a plan where big companies are enticed to come, but I think as long as we create a relationship where businesses are coming in not only to profit off of Vineyard residents, but as well as contribute to our community. I think that should be the focus. We want the tax base, but we also want them to be integrated parts of our community that care about our residents, care about, I don't know, the ecology around them, anyways, I don't know. It should be a mutual benefit. We should be mutually benefiting each other, is what I want to say.
Yeah, so the Vineyard Business Connector Road area, yeah, so things we need to look at, so shopping centers, grocery stores, gas station, like I mentioned before, or is another gas station in off of Vineyard. So those are all the things I would say we definitely continue to look at when it comes to that. And we do have a plan, whether it's a year, 2 years, 5 years. If I was in the table, I would definitely push that aggressively and continue to find ways to be smart about it. So, like I said before, find a way where it's a win-win, tax incentivize these companies to continue to come here. But you look at, traffic, how much traffic they get in these areas and whatnot. So, those are the things that will continue to push forward when it comes to the business and
Okay, so the downtown Vineyard area, just north of 800, north of 10th Road, and we have a lot going in there, and I'm really excited about it. There's going to be a major transportation hub. It's going to be the Frontliner station, along with, it'll be a huge connector for the buses, also a future light rail is what I've heard. Along with that transportation, there will also be a parking structure that the city has set aside a lot of funds to be able to have, which is very important with how many people we're planning on bringing into the city. There's also going to be UVU's master campus. They have quite a bit of land there, and so, which is actually quite wonderful because typically college campuses are very safe. They're well maintained, and they're well controlled. There's also plans, there's a possible site for the fire station. There's two spots they're looking at, but one is in that area, and I think that might be the one the council's leaning towards. There's shopping, dining, businesses coming in. We want to have corporate offices. We want to have places where companies come in. And I know that since COVID, we've had a lot of people working from home, but there still are offices out there. We want to increase those offices. Also, there's going to be homes. There are going to be somewhat high-rise buildings there, walkable space, and that connector road will have a huge connection. It'll go along the lake and kind of be a great way to bring people in.
Thank you so much. So we have one final question. We'll start with Nef, and then work down. So this is our final question for our state council candidates. You have 2 minutes to give any closing remarks or anything else that you would like residents to know.
Well, I guess for my closing remark, I would just like to say, I didn't say this in the beginning, but my parents are I guess, they immigrated from El Salvador 35 plus years ago. They gave me the great opportunity to come live in this great country. And for me to be part of this community, I'm very proud to live in Vineyard. I think we have a lot of good things happening. There's a lot of potential here, great opportunity. And to be a part of a lot of young families is huge. I like that, the attraction that we have. And I do think having a voice for the young families, I believe the census went out a couple of years ago where 20 to 35 is the average age in Vineyard, which is like a lot. And I think it's good to have the perspective of those individuals. And I want to be that voice. And I also want to be the voice for the residents and citizens of Vineyard. So for me is, I will give you all everything I have if I win for these 4 years, through my grit, determination, and my willingness to always hear what you have to say. This platform is not just about me, it's about also you guys. I want to know what you want, and I want to deliver in that promise. So for me, those are the
love this city. We've been here 4 years, and we have watched houses come in. We've had deer sleep in our backyard several times. We've gotten to know a lot of new people. It's been fun making new friends. It's been fun hearing all the different things that are going on. We have a lot of wonderful opportunity in front of us. There is no city in Utah like ours. We're pretty awesome. So what I want to do is I want to represent you. I want to make sure that it's a community effort. I want to get information from all of the community on big decisions. And sometimes, yes, we want to go with what the populace wants, right? But sometimes we have to make those hard choices when maybe this is what's best for Vineyard might not always be what a certain loud group wants. We have to be really careful with our management of the city and make sure that our decisions are good, smart, awesome decisions that will continue to make this place beautiful.
I'm going to have to read this because as I typed it, I got emotional. And if I tried to just say it, I know I'll cry. So I'll just read it. I want you to know that I'm not standing here before you because I wanted to be a politician since I was a little girl. This is actually the last thing I ever thought I would do. I don't know all the answers, but I'm willing to learn, and I promise you that I will do my best to learn. I stand before you today because I am just one of you. I love our country and I love Vineyard. My family and I have felt so blessed by the community we have found here in these 3 years we have been here. I also stand before you as a concerned citizen. We have seen a devastating big government overreach where the voice of the people is being ignored and even silenced throughout our nation. I used to think, if only someone would do something about it, until I realized I could do something right now. And that's where I stand right here, Vineyard. And for too long, we have empowered the government when it should be the government empowering us, the people. I believe that together we can preserve Vineyard as a beacon that is leading the way and protecting our individual rights and voices as our city continues to grow and diversify. We need to start at home with things like expanding our children's library. And it would be the greatest honor to serve you as a representative who values the consent of the governed.
Thank you, candidates. They've done a great job. It takes a lot to get here in front of you guys and answer all these questions. And so we really appreciate it. So you guys would please give them another round of applause. And thank them for their hard work. And now we're asking candidates for mayor to come and take their spot. We're going to also put you in ballot order. So there's just a second while we swap those out. All right, we'd like to welcome our candidates for Vineyard Mayor to the podiums here. We have Marc Brimhall, Fullmer, and Guadalupe. So welcome to them. We're grateful for their presence here today. So the first question, and we will do it just like the first round. We will begin with Marc, and then Julie, and then Maria, and then we'll shift around, always going in that direction. So the first question is very similar to the first question we gave the city council candidates. Tell us about yourself and your past experiences that have prepared you to be the mayor of Vineyard. And you have 2 minutes.
My name is Marc Brimhall. I'm the mayor. I grew up in Fullmer and I moved to Arizona for school, going to architecture school. I moved back here in 2013 for a while and moved here to Vineyard. Lived here for about 2.5 years. My background could be probably the best as a mayor because I worked in the architectural firm, or architectural
mayor, but beyond the service that I've done in the last 4 years, I am a business owner as well. I do internet marketing, and that was kind of my background. I was into international negotiations, and that's where I really felt like I had this ability to go out and meet people at the state, make these regional and state and international partnerships to bring people into Vineyard. And before that, so that's my background on speaking and communicating, but then I served on the planning commission when I first moved here. There was like 139 people, and then I was elected to serve on the city council, and there was like 600 people, and now there's 20,000 people. But I really know the residents, and I speak to you guys all the time. I know what you need, I know the land, I know what you're upset about, I know the infrastructure that we're looking for, I know the partnerships that we're void on, and so I really feel like that kind of experience, that kind of knowledge, gives me a lot of lift for how to keep us going and moving in the right direction for Vineyard. Aside from that, I have a small family. We're young, and we love this city as much as you guys. And so I guess I kind of get the vibe and the feeling that people are going through as they live in this community. Coming in young without any kids, starting a new family, building them, trying to move on to greater property, and then wanting to live here a very long time and watch people as they retire and settle into our community. Thank you.
Well, my name is Maria. Maria Jane. I'm running for mayor for Vineyard. I'm not political. I stay here, thank you God, because put me here for one reason. I had 2 daughters, 2 sons, I had 2 daughters, 2 boys, and 1 grandchild, and 1 son-in-law. I stay here, believe me, I pray to God many times why is the reason for staying here, but I stay here for one reason. I wait, and I don't want to spend too much time on I run for mayor.
Okay, the next question we'll start with Julie, and then we'll go Maria and then Mark. So we're asking, if elected, what would be your priorities as mayor?
So when I ran for mayor in 2017, my priorities were to manage density, infrastructure, create better communication, really dive into economic development, create a safer community and a more sustainable city. And as you heard the city council talking, those things haven't changed. But what has changed is where we are now. So in 2017 with safety, we had 1 police officer, no 24-hour coverage, but now we have full 24-hour coverage with 24 that has double in crossover, and we have police officers in our school, we have a detective department, and we have 20,000 residents, so that's the difference. And I really wanted to make sure that we had economic development. But what did it mean back in 2017? Well, we didn't have any of the infrastructure that's here today. So then going out and getting $60 to $100 million before we could bring in grocery stores that Marty was talking about, having that beautiful front street where people could drive on. And that's what we did while we were here. And we brought that money in and we got that infrastructure in. And so building on that momentum, managing density. We talk about where density needs to go, where housing needs to be. When in 2017, that meant creating a developmental plan, the general plan that said, this is where we want to see density, this is where we don't want to see density, this is where we want to see open space, and we did that. We built it with the community, and we've been sticking to it, and we've been adhering to it, and the council has been defending it. So now we just need to build on that momentum and take it to the next level and bring in those businesses because we're here now. And I want to keep that track going and keep building those relationships that we've established.
Okay, the reason for running for mayor in my field is because the city made a lot of construction in our area what is he doing. Make construction with no parkings. No, you visit your mother, your father, your family, and the houses. Come and visit you, that's how you come and take it. $400 paid. This is not good. And focus, I want to focus in making construction appropriate and making parking appropriate for the residents, for the visitors. I don't want to spend many times talking a lot. I want to focus on making one big company, billionaire company, Honda Motor Company in Vineyard. For Vineyard, have more money than nobody else city, a very tiny, 380 acres, high space for people walking, highway for walking, highway for bicycle, no highway for bicycle, and cars together. I don't want it. That's why I'm running for mayor. Oh, and I want to open one basketball training center in Vineyard, similarly to Lehigh.
My priorities for Vineyard would be more on the retail side, bringing in bigger businesses, bringing in grocery stores. Again, I agree with Julie, she did a fantastic job with what she's done so far. For me, I think there could be more, there could be a lot more possibilities. There could be a lot more, again, retail. And I agree with the city council that the three that are running now, there could be a lot more potential growth as far as what we have now. Looking at getting another junior high, possibly, we need more parking in Vineyard at parks. Right now, there's one park where we have soccer games, football games that are always overcrowded. That would be something I would look into as far as adding more parking to these parks. Being able to add more parks to the community, and again, there is a lot of great potential growth here for me.
Thank you, candidates. Okay, our third question for you, and Maria will be the first one to answer. Here's the question. What are Vineyard's biggest strengths, and how would you build on them?
I can't listen very well.
Yeah, I'll repeat it. What are Vineyard's biggest strengths, and how would you build on them?
Why Vineyard? Sometimes my English is difficult. The question is why expectation Vineyard big.
Yeah. What are the strengths of Vineyard, and how would you build on them? How would you?
That is not tricky, because my English is difficult, but I try the best I can make it from the home. Well, I like Vineyard, and I want to put Vineyard in beautiful city for all the state in Utah. Example, I don't know what exactly I want expectation for me, but I try the best mayor I can. I wanted Vineyard in the top to the cities more beautiful. Creation, my plan in Vineyard is make it one talking to Honda company, and possible Honda company coming in their investment in the city. I want to talking with a billionaire company. I don't want to make many things, Walmart or Walgreens or something like that. I want a billionaire company. I think it's good.
I think the biggest strength in Vineyard right now is families. Vineyard is family oriented. There are a lot of parks, there are walking trails, biking trails, and I would like to continue that by adding more parks, family oriented businesses that come in here, such as like Topgolf is a great example. But I would like to add more of that here in Vineyard. Thank you.
I agree. I think our biggest strength is the people.
We have fabulous neighborhoods, fabulous people of all ages, sizes, families, singles, and it's incredible the community that we've built here together. We also have great relationships. In 2017, we didn't have any relationships. We were small and nobody knew about us. Now everybody knows who we are. We have bold relationships at the state. I serve on about 20 state boards. We've got our council that are constantly meeting with regional partners around the state. Our council is sitting out in the audience and serving and getting to know the people that help us bring in the funding, help us meet with our regional partners like GoRed and EDC Utah, and all of those people that bring in that retail, great partnerships. We have 300 acres of University of Utah in our city, and while that takes away from some of our ability for tax dollars, it creates a lot of partnerships with the state that draws in students and different types of economic development that you would normally see in another city. We have a bustling opportunity to the north for economic development and a quiet conservation, peaceful experience that happens throughout the communities of Vineyard to the south side. And like you said, Mark, that connectivity of trails, the connectivity of streets, of technology, of people, of community. We have that in Vineyard and we want to build it and make it even stronger. And that's a location is also another big strength that we have. We're along the lake, we're next to the freeway, we have access, and that's what makes businesses want to be here so badly. And now we have the people, and so we've got great momentum.
Thank you. Okay, now's the fun part. Here are questions. I'm going to hear questions from our residents. So, our first question that was submitted is, in such a diverse climate, what will you do to make sure Vineyard is unified and also inclusive? I want to start. Unified and inclusive. Keywords.
Wow. Who does that first? Vineyard.
In such a diverse climate, what will you do to make sure Vineyard is unified and inclusive?
So Vineyard is a great city. I see great potential again as far as growing. I can see us being the next Provo or Orem or Lehigh or American Fort. I see big businesses coming in, retail, residential, high-end. I feel that with that coming in, we will see a lot more community as far as like coming in and being part of it.
I think there's a lot of different ways that we can be inclusive. I think when you're talking about community and people, it's about communication. It's letting people know we have different opportunities. For instance, one of the things that we work on at the city is how do we build parks? And we build them for very young ages, we build them for single people, we build them for families, and for retired age, where they can go sit on the bench or go play pickleball, whatever it is, soccer tournaments. Trying to build spaces for people, I think, is one way to be inclusive. Building different types of homes allows different types of people to live here. That's another way to be inclusive. When we're talking about inviting different types of companies and being diverse in our companies, it's how do we zone different elements of our city so that we can attract a diverse economy. Utah is one of the most diverse economies in the nation, and we can do that within our city. We can come up with ways to zone so that we, and deregulate, so that we can invite companies like Topgolf, a mom and pop shop, the Megaplex, and then you can have some like finer companies to the north that do light manufacturing, just different types of companies, different types of diversity. We can offer different spaces as well, so within our parks, but then within our overall planning, like we were saying, there's conservation to the south, and then we have business to the north, and we have our homes in the center. We have a visitor section where we have our master plan for the lakefront. There's so many different options to be inclusive and then connecting to the communities around us. So not just thinking of us as our city, one city, and we're the city, but working with Linden and with Orem and with Provo, and then thinking on a larger scale, working regionally with those partners, and saying how do we invite those different partnerships in to really make this a cohesive and sustainable environment that's inclusive.
I want to tell about my opinion. Working in transportation, cleaning the city and Vineyard, parking in the community, public safety, construction, housing, education. Education is very important because Vineyard now a high school and junior school. And use Orange Junior School. Orange School asks for donation because they have pencils and papers in the school. What's going on with the kids in Vineyard? Go send the kids in Orange Junior School. I want a high school in Vineyard. I want a junior school in Vineyard. In Vineyard, kids and child students have everything in a backpack. It's my priority.
Thank you. Okay, now our next question from one of our residents in attendance here tonight is what actions, and we'll start with Julie, what actions do you plan on taking to keep Vineyard's environment healthy and sustainable?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of different elements that go to it. One of the things that we've been working on as a city is on the north side, if you remember, there was the brownfield site, and we've invested millions of dollars in cleaning that up, going down to the groundwater level, that's like 18 feet down, and really making sure that those hard metals and those impacted materials are removed and cleaned. Another thing is conservation as far as our resources. As you all know, we've been in a drought this year, and so trying to find out ways that we can manage that. Flipping the strip, building and planting trees, making sure that we're coming up with reuse systems. We have a lot of different secondary sources for water, but really letting the people understand what that means, how we're utilizing it, how they can clean their cars in the driveway that keeps nutrients from going out into the lake, educating our residents. And so we're coming up with these conservation plans to make sure that not only are we doing it, but our residents are doing it, and we're kind of building this cohesive nature as a city. Let's see, other things that we can do to conserve and protect our resources. You know, some of the things that we're facing in the state is food sustainability. So one of the things we've been working on is gardens and pollinator gardens and creating ways to make our farmland and our ability to get to food more convenient and easy. And so coming up with ways to streamline those paths is something that we've been focused on. Another thing is finding ways to cut supply chains. So we have a business in Vineyard that is a vertical development for farming, and it takes 30 million gallons less than the regular farm would take. It's an amazing technology. Working with these types of companies to come up with resources for our community to build sustainably.
Well, my personal opinion. Okay, if I run for mayor, my priority is this vineyard is 380 acres. It's not very big. My priority is talking to Honda, the motor company Honda. Come Honda here inversion in Vineyard. One company is okay because the other acres is for the child's future, for the making highways for walking, making highways for bicycles. No making highways and bicycles and cars together. My priority is save space for Vineyard and make a billionaire company make it here in Vineyard. Contact Honda and say to Honda, I want to talk to you. Inversion in Vineyard, Utah. This is my priority.
The way I would protect our resources, again, I agree with Julie, educating our community on water conservation as far as watering your lawns, how much you need to do every day or every week, how often, washing your cars, and as far as being able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Bringing new buildings into our community as far as protecting our resources. I would like to look into more of the projects, buildings that sustain themselves with recycled material. Adding gardens to these roofs would be a great environmental protecting. Being able to save that rainwater. Solar, adding solar panels to these roofs as well. Save electricity.
Next one for Maria, right? Okay. Maria will start the next question. So it says, what do you envision for economic development in Vineyard?
For the economic, I've talked many times about this. Vineyard is, I want to try it again one more time, 300 acres. You know where I planted to put the trees and beautiful garden, vineyard is very beautiful. You walking with your child and enjoy the flowers, right? You don't want a vineyard to warehouse, right? You don't want to open your window and see beautiful warehouse in front of you. Okay, the point is, creation, talking with a big company, billionaire company. One billionaire company in Vineyard, that's enough, it's good. And make it park, recreation, training, basketball training center. This is very important. Basketball training center, similar to Carmelone in Vineyard, for the future child, for the young adult people, for you. No matter all join.
Again, with economic development, I would like to bring in more businesses, being able to add retail, adding bigger, larger companies come in that would give us more tax revenue. Being able to establish that and move along and get the city center moving. I'd like to see that going as soon as we can, as quickly as we see that going. I'd like to see that going as quickly as we can to see those taxes move. Also jobs, this would be a lot more jobs, bringing in more retail. As far as high density housing, if we did that, it would bring a lot more businesses into the community as well, and a lot more jobs.
So as far as what do I want to see for economic development, I think, and I'm glad you pointed out the city center, because I'll give you an update on where we are. So we are moving really fast. What we had to do was, I mentioned we had to get that $60 to $100 million in infrastructure to really get moving, and we did. The state was 5 to 8 years out of giving funding for the Vineyard Connector, but we got the $16 million this year. And we also got the front runner station. So we had $4 million, and then we needed a $20 million more, and we got that as well. So we're very excited. So there's nothing separating us from starting this development anymore, and so development is going in. If you see those trucks out there, they are putting in the infrastructure, they're putting in the streets, and when those things start coming in, that's when we're going to see the vertical development start going up. So we cleaned it, we brought in the infrastructure, we're building it, and we're going to see it go vertical, and it's very exciting. Different types of businesses. Like I said, I really see a diverse economy here. I want to see medical, I want to see retail, I want to see hotel, different things to make sure that our housing and our city center itself becomes sustainable so that there are places for people to work. So it's bringing in visitors from outside, it's allowing people here to work, it's partnering with our UVU campus so that it becomes this cohesive connection of building an economic development center that also works with Provo and Orem and Linden and builds upon itself. So, thank you.
Thank you. We have our final question, and I believe it is Mark who will be the first one to answer this one. And it's the same final question that we had with our city council candidates, which is to please give any closing remarks or anything else you would like residents to know.
Again, thank you, Julie. You've done a fantastic job with what you've same with the city council. Again, if I get elected mayor, I would push for more retail. I'm really counting that. Retail to me is very important as far as getting more revenue. The housing will follow. If we build more retail, I know the housing will come as when we start seeing growth from local businesses. I would like to, Vineyard is a very safe environment now. I would like to make it safer. Again, I'd like to add more walking trails, paths, biking paths, being able to have the community come together and help clean parks as far as that utility, park areas and parks, having more community outdoor events, and just get to know the neighbors better.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Mark, and it's really great to have you guys up here. It's great to see all these people running for city council as well. There's something so important about giving back to your community, and we can't be here forever, but we do have to sacrifice our time to give back to this community that we love so much. And I love Vineyard. And I don't know my next steps, but I do know that I'm here, and I want to make sure that as we transition and as we grow and as we're really making things happen in Vineyard, that you have somebody that is going to fight for you, you're going to communicate with you, they know the people that they need to talk to, and that is me. I do know those people. I'm always there. If you have a question for me, and you know that you can call me and I'll answer you. And if I haven't gotten back to you, it's because I'm working on your problem, and I will get back to you. Some things take longer than you think, and there are more hurdles to jump, but we're fighting for you, and we're working with you. So never feel like you don't have political efficacy in Vineyard, because you do. And that's why I'm running for mayor. I want to preserve what we have. I want to build what we are working so hard to create, and I want to keep working with the city to make sure that we transition Vineyard into a place we all want to continue to call home.
When I invited you, I'm happy, and it's very honor for me talking to everybody here. I thank you, God, for putting me here. He's my best friend. But if I mayor, I wanted to put in a balloon UVU different color, and I wanted to fix it the UVU finish as soon as I can. Because Vineyard not looks happy, but not looks nice. I want to talk. I never think nothing is impossible. It's difficult, but everything is possible. I don't want to make a Vineyard warehouse. I want to make a Vineyard family city. But we need billionaire company. I'm here. I don't speak very well English. I'm here. Everything is possible, and I'm running for mayor.
I want to thank again our candidates for mayor. And as I said before, it's not easy to stand up here, so please let's give them another round of applause. Thank you. And we would like all of our candidates to, I've left time at the end because I know now you may have a few more questions. And if your question that you submitted earlier did not get asked, then run out and find somebody to talk to and ask that question to. So I can get our candidates to go back to their tables for a few minutes. We also have